Populism is an ideology that claims that society is eventually split between the pure people and the corrupt elite, two homogeneous and antagonistic groups, and that politics should represent the collective desire of the people. Politicians and the general public frequently use populism to discredit their own opponents and occasionally to assert their democratic credentials. The reliance on leaders who can inspire the people or guide their parties to achieve dramatic reforms is a defining characteristic of populism.
Aung San Suu Kyi was born in Rangoon on 19 June 1945. She is the daughter of General Aung San, the commander of the Burma Independence Army. After the death of her father, Suu Kyi and her mother moved to New Delhi, India, as her mother, Thao Kin Kyi, was appointed as Burma's ambassador in India in 1916. Suu Kyi received her high school and college education in New Delhi, bachelor degree in philosophy, politics and economics at St. Hugh's College of Oxford University, and graduate study in New York. In 1972, she married Michael Aries and went to Bhutan for his husband to tutor the royal family of Bhutan. On 31st March 1988, Suu Kyi received news regarding her mother's health and immediately flew to Rangoon to take care of her mother. Suu Kyi found it shocking during her return when the country where she grew up had completely changed. She witnessed the people fighting for the reinstitution of democracy, and the government responded to the protests with military force. Seeing the tense political state in her country, Suu Kyi stepped up by sending an open letter to the government and thus beginning her career in politics.
Aung San Suu Kyi, an acknowledged champion for human rights and democracy. She has earned a reputation as a beacon of hope for the Burmese people in their fight for independence and democratic rule, thanks to her unyielding resolve and unshakable dedication to the justice. In the late 1980s, Aung San Suu Kyi became a well-known figure in the pro-democracy movement. Despite being placed under house arrest for more than 15 years, she bravely resisted the oppressive authority of the military dictatorship. She even co-founded the National League for Democracy, a political organization dedicated to upholding human rights and democratic ideals in the 1988. Under her direction, the NLD rose to prominence in Myanmar political system, uniting the populace and offering a stage for their goal. In the face of harsh repression, Aung San Suu Kyi always supported non-violent form of resistance. She spearheaded acts of civil disobedience, organized non-violent protests, and gathering in the public to oppose the military regime. She was steadfast in her belief that only peaceful tactics were capable of bringing about long-lasting change, as evidenced by her commitment to non-violence and reconciliation. Another contribution worth mentioning is the Nobel Peace Prize. She admired Mahatma Gandhi's use of non-violence, which is also inspired by Buddhism. Aung San Suu Kyi's inspiring leadership helped the pro-democracy movement in Myanmar to gain recognition and support on a global scale. She received a number of major honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991, and rose to become a universal icon of resistance to oppression. These honors not only improved her status but also put more pressure on the military administration internationally. Aung San Suu Kyi and the NLD won a historic victory in the general election of 2015 after years of battling. Their landslide victory created a major turning point in Myanmar political history, opening the door to a change from military administration to a more democratic form of government. As State Councillor, Aung San Suu Kyi effectively took over as a head of state for Myanmar.
I will continue with the populist contributions. We have heard that Aung San Suu Kyi has been through a lot in her life. She dedicated her life to write about her journey, and she was well known for her writing. In her life, she has written a lot of her own bibliography on her way to become the Prime Minister of Myanmar. Some of the examples that we can look are the letters from Burma that was written in 1997 and Aung San's of Burma, a biographical portrait by his daughter in 2012. These books that was written by her is not just a book that tells a story about someone's life, but it is a story on how it gives hope to people in Myanmar. Despite the challenge she faced, Suu Kyi remains a symbol of hope for peoples of Myanmar. She is reminded that even in the face of oppression, it is possible to fight for democracy and human rights.
Aung San Suu Kyi was once known as the democratic icon as she received the Nobel Peace Prize. However, her inconsistency made her the controversial politician that got stripped of many titles and awards that was given to her. When the NLD Suu Kyi's political party won the general election in 2015, they managed to bring up several key policies that seemed great at first. These include democratic reforms, national reconciliation, economic development, constitutional reforms, human rights and law. The government under Suu Kyi's leadership worked to ensure the democratic transition from military rule. They aimed to strengthen democratic institutions, promote freedom of expression, and enhance civil liberties. Aung San Suu Kyi prioritized in bringing together the diverse ethnic groups in Myanmar, and her government was also focused on attracting foreign investment and promoting tourism. But all that changed in 2017 when Myanmar military launched a brutal crackdown in response to the attacks by the Rohingyas insurgent group. A widespread human rights abuse occurred while Aung San Suu Kyi was still the state chancellor of Myanmar. Because of the military action against the Rohingyas, she received international condemnation for the lack of response on the matter, which eventually turning her from a hero to zero to the eyes of the world.
In 2019, Gambia filed a lawsuit against Myanmar at the International Court of Justice (ICJ), accusing the country of genocide against the Rohingya. Aung San Suu Kyi led the legal defense team for Myanmar during the hearings at the ICJ in The Hague. As a result, in January 2020, the court ordered provisional measure to protect the Rohingya population, and Myanmar was instructed to take immediate action to prevent further violence. In February 2021, Aung San Suu Kyi, along with the other government officials and politicians, was detained by the military. She faced various charges, including possessing unlicensed walkie-talkies and violating the Official Secrets Act. In June 2021, Aung San Suu Kyi was found guilty of several charges, including illegally importing walkie-talkies and violating COVID-19 restrictions. She was sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Aung San Suu Kyi's reputation has been tarnished due to her handling of the Rohingya crisis, a widely criticized genocide in Myanmar. The Rohingya, a Muslim minority group, have faced decades of persecution and discrimination. In 2017, the Myanmar military launched a brutal crackdown, forcing over 700,000 people to flee to Bangladesh. Suu Kyi's government has been accused of enforcing discriminatory policies, restricting access to humanitarian aid, and suppressing freedom of speech and the press.
The rule of law and recognize the right of return of all those who had to leave the country.
While Suu Kyi may not have directly committed to the genocide, her actions have contributed to the crisis and worsened the suffering of the Rohingya people.
In conclusion, Suu Kyi's Buddhist political rhetoric was a product both of her unique circumstances and her conscious decision to combine Buddhism with politics in a way that her father had not, nor from the bulk of the available evidence was he likely to have done so. The fifth year of Suu Kyi's administration, which began in March 2020, has disappointed international fans more than it has pleased them, and she has experienced more failures than successes. In Myanmar, she hasn't really changed much. Although her rule has not been a success, it has also not been a failure. The fact that she has remained in power and probably will do so for some time is crucial. This is correlated with Chinese proverb which says, as long as she lives, she can do better.